Hi everyone, I'm Craig, the producer at the London 3 Games team, and with me is Jack, the programmer.
Hello everyone.
And we're going to give you the monthly update today in a slightly different format. We're going to run through several scenes of Chapter 1, and we're going to explain some of our thinking behind it and show you a little bit of gameplay now that we're further along in the process. So I'll start with Chapter 1, Scene 1, where Lucas is in Anna's bedroom. She's currently doing her homework, so you can see here we've reworked the dialogue UI to look a lot more presentable, a lot more fluid and friendly to the player. We've got this nice big play button to make it really clear how to advance the conversation. You can see in the top right of the screen we've got the objective system, which points the player in the right direction as to where they should be going to advance. So we've seen that the objective is called homework, and I believe it's to pick up the backpack. And this is in Portuguese, so forgive me if I'm not completely on the ball with this, which is another thing to mention actually. We do have the Portuguese localization working now, which is great. So we'll go and have a conversation with Anna. You see we've got these dialogue choices as well, which allows the player to make their own decisions as to how a conversation will flow and the choices that they would make as Lucas. And yeah, I think that's all I could cover for Chapter 1. Jack, anything to add for Chapter 1? Scene 1?
No, not really so far. I think the main thing we've done recently is just revamp the UI for the conversations. It just looks a lot more clean and more presentable now.
Mm-hmm. Looks a lot more polished, doesn't it?
Definitely. I'm really happy with it.
So we have the exit the room to go to Scene 2, which is Lucas exploring the house looking for his backpack. So these early objectives are mostly to onboard the player with getting them used to how objectives work, getting them used to interacting with items. So we can see, look for the backpack, and we can see there with the highlight, which Jack will talk about later on, that it's down here. So we go and interact with it. So he's now going to return to Anna, who's in the kitchen. Jack, do you want to talk about this scene?
Yeah, I can do, yeah. So this is the third scene of the first chapter, really. So I think one of the things we were trying to do is make it a lot more interactive and engaging for the players. So it's not just kind of watching kind of conversations take place. So during this scene, you're going to see a cooking minigame. And I think one of the difficulties we've kind of looked at and whatnot is making a cooking minigame. Not kind of too easy, but not too difficult. The idea of it really is to kind of, if you look on the right, you can see some ingredients to place into the pot, and you know, the quicker you do it, the quicker you'll kind of complete the game. But yeah, so I think this last kind of couple of weeks we've been fine tuning it and making it so it's just the right level of difficulty, so you can't kind of breeze through it or whatnot.
Yeah, so this is obviously being balanced for use on tablet as well, where the player will be using a touch screen. So it's a bit more intuitive than it would be on a PC. So if you can picture this being played by dragging and dropping with your hands, that's kind of how we envision people playing.
Yeah, because I think when we first started it, it's when we were first looking at it, it was almost kind of too difficult on a PC, but on a tablet, well, when you look at it there, it's kind of too difficult on a PC, but when you've got a tablet with your finger using it down there, it's just a lot easier to play through.
Mm-hmm. So we'll head into Scene 4.
Yeah.
Which has Lucas back home, I believe. No, it doesn't. Sorry, he's looking for his mobile phone in Scene 4 still. Having not found it in his bag and having helped Anna with lunch, he's now looking everywhere for his mobile phone. Do you want to talk about the highlighting system?
Of course, yeah. So I think you know, I think one of the objectives we were looking at is to make it so the player isn't stuck and just really knows what to do at all times. So during this scene, you'll see a few times where you have to go to different areas, you know, and find certain things. At the moment, if you look on the right of the screen, you can see that the bed is highlighted. That's purely just because the first objective is to go over and interact with something on the bed. You kind of sit down and whatnot. But and yes, so during the scene, you'll see different things get highlighted. It's just a visual aid, so you're always drawn to where to go. As we don't really want the player to just kind of be stuck with no idea.
Mm-hmm. It's all about making it as accessible as possible as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
So no one feels frustrated, no one feels like they're just searching and searching and searching. We give them just the right amount of pointing in the right direction to help them advance along. I should also stress this is still a work in progress. So some of these visual glitches that you see are still being ironed out as we speak. But yeah, we see we have the mobile phone here. I'm going to go through some of the dialogue because I do not understand what it says in
I'm-
Portuguese.
I do like the animations we've got now. I think they're really good.
Yeah, it's added a dimension to it, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Which Alexis, our animator, has been hard at work on implementing. So the characters animate differently depending on what they're talking about, where they are in the game. So you just saw Anna there go and check for the mobile phone and approach Lucas and hand it over to him. She'll go and sit back down now. Quite smoothly.
Yeah.
And we have the mobile phone system, which is a really cool system, I think, which is basically designed to emulate a smartphone, which allows the user to explore the smartphone as they would as if it was their own. Allows them to use text messages, the app called Snapshot, which is loosely based on what was it based on? Snapchat.
Showing your age there.
I am showing my age there. And yeah, we've got the close the phone objective as well. And yeah, so I think that's a good spot to leave the preview, isn't it? Rather than giving away too much.
Definitely.
So,
I would just quickly say, I think the idea of Chapter 1 is really to make it so that nothing's too difficult. I think you're really getting accustomed to kind of what the game's going to be about, how you're going to go about doing certain things, you know, how the phone works, how different minigames work. You're not really thrown in at the deep end. Yeah,
it's all gradual, isn't it? It's all very basic to start with. Like we saw with the backpack, like we saw with the first introduction to the mobile phone. It's all about onboarding the player to make sure they're comfortable with what they're being asked to do later on and avoid any frustration. So what are our next steps, Jack? What's next for you in terms of the development of the game?
We're going through different chapters now. I think there's 5 chapters in total for the game. There's obviously each different scene as well. I think at the moment we're just polishing things, making it all tidy. You know, certain UI changes we're looking at, certain animations. For me personally, I'm kind of just going to go through the conversations next and just make sure that they end at the right point, they start at the right point. Yeah.
No, that's really good. In terms of the games development team as a whole, we have actually our next user reference group coming up next week, which will be really good as well, because it's going to be really exciting and interesting to give this build of the game to our participants and just see what they make of it. So they'll be playing through, I think, Chapter 1 and 2 in full, and they'll be asked what they think about it, what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it, what they thought about the attitudes of the characters, and we're obviously going to use all of that information going forward in both tidying up the more visual elements of the game in terms of user interface and presentability, as well as wider uses such as in the facilitator's guide that the centre will be producing later to accompany the game. So yeah, I think that's a good spot to leave it, and we'll catch up with you next time. Thank you, Jack.
No, thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.